Aloha Ecamm fam, welcome to the show, Graham. I'm your community manager, Doc Rock, and today we are bringing a really incredible masterclass series. And this one's going to be great. We have so many people in the community. You guys are always on case about sound. Like, I want to do this with my sound. I want to do that with my sound. So I was like, okay, I know a lot about audio, but y'all was driving me crazy. I'm joking. So I said, on that show where you got to phone a friend, I was like, hey, yo, Eric, they're killing me. I need your help. And he's like, put on the super cape, and then he comes in, he goes, I got you. We're going to do it. We're going to discuss how to make your audio just straight fire. Today we'll be showcasing products from PreSonus. They've been in the game forever. As a DJ, one of my favorite things I've ever owned is something known as a fader port. And just imagine a little slider that when you're doing your podcast mixes, the slider moves with you automatically. And all my friends go, how'd you do that? And I just go, pew. If you're feeling like dust your shoulders off. So today I brought in my buddy Eric from PreSonus to help us out, talk story with us, show us some of the cool things. And also one of my favorite people in the Ecamm community is Miss Elaine Dempsey. She's a musician and she has a Revelator. And she's like, yo, I love this Revelator thing. You need to check it out. So I got one. And now me and Eric are going to talk about it. And you guys are going to learn something. Remember, gang, first of all, we got to make sure we give Eric lots of aloha when he pops in because he's taking his time to help us out with this. Also, remember, if you want to drop any questions, please put a little Q, colon, in the question so we can make sure we get you covered. And if you happen to be watching this on replay, let us know with a little replay squad. Still ask your question because Caleb, Katie, and I will come back and answer all your questions, even if you couldn't make it today because, you had babysitting duty or something. But I told y'all, write it in the calendar. We're coming through. Without further ado, coming to you all the way from La Bayou, La Bonfontaine, Louisiana. I'm just making that part up. I got to say hello, Mr. Eric. Da-da-da. Hey.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Thanks for having me on, Doc.
Sorry, Eric. I didn't mean to give you the Louisiana joke, but I remember the first meeting we had, there's an alligator walking around in the back window. So
there was, yeah. He was out in the pond.
What they say, the cement pond. Right. Mr. E, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at the PreSonus of Pre.
Well, my name is Eric Welch. As Doc mentioned, I am a product manager at PreSonus. That involves doing market research, learning what is missing in the out there in the field, and basically coming up with products that solve problems for you guys out there. We're a company that builds solutions, not just products.
That was a good one. And hold on, because what happened is, don't try to take a drink when Eric is talking, because if he talks fast, you'll miss your spot.
I can talk slower.
No, I'm joking. Perfect. Okay. Mr. Camera Junkie is one of our cool cats in the crew. He says, I love my PreSonus speakers. And gang, let me do this real quick. Let's zoom you up and do what I always forget to do. The community makes fun of me because I'm famous for forgetting to do this. Change the color. Ow! Okay. Sorry, cell phone. That was me. Put the phone over there.
This is first lesson in audio for streaming.
Yeah,
move your cell phone away from the equipment.
Yeah, our buddy Rich Graham, who may not be here yet in the community, he is forever reminding me, Doc, move your cell phone. I'm like, yeah, I know. This is one of those things. So I see a lot of people in our crew are coming through. Gang, I welcome you guys all here. I see that either Katie or Caleb is helping us in the chat. And Elaine is actually paying attention to us, and she's in the airport right now. She's Oscar Mike. Thank you, Elaine. Yeah, she's awesome. Hello, Anna. Good to see you here. I really appreciate you. Yes, the fader port, the headphone amp, and the Revelator. All right, cool. So our people here, some people know what we're talking about. Other gangs, we're going to show you what we do. And yes, this is the greatest thing, right? Build solutions, not products. That's dope.
Correct.
I think that's super important. So I guess we should start with the Revelator, because a lot of things come up to people about leveling up their microphone performance, doing some really incredible things. I misunderstood. When I took this out of the package, I plugged it in and I was playing with the presets, which out of the box, you don't have to do anything. You can literally just plug it in and go. And I was playing with the presets and I was like, that's cool. But I remember in our first conversation, you was like, oh, did you install the Universal app? And I was like, no. And then like, you're funny, Doc. Install that app and then call me back. I was like, oh God, this is dope. Okay, so let's go through this real quick.
Yeah, well, I want to, if I
Katie.
could start, Doc,
Yes.
just say, PreSonus started as we made recording studio products. We started in the recording industry. So the first products we made were designed to work in the recording studio. And that includes what we still make today is our high-end digital mixers, which have digital signal processing on board. So for every microphone that you plug into it, you can tailor the sound to just what you need.
Studio Live, right?
Studio Live mixers. That's exactly right.
I was just showing off to them that I know about this kind of stuff.
Oh, that you know? Okay. So then, now today we bring, PreSonus is not only we're still in the recording industry, but we also are moving into content creation, streaming, broadcasting, all those things. So we created the Revelator microphone, which is a USB microphone, but it's not just a USB microphone. This has all that signal processing technology that you find in our recording and live consoles built right into it.
Man, that is freaking incredible. Like, yeah, gang, you guys really don't understand exactly how dope it is until you mess with it. Okay, so I guess we'll go over some of the features of it. First of all, I'm surprised at the clarity in the capsule because I think the common misnomer in USB microphones is like there's somehow a difference between the sound quality you're going to pull from a USB versus the XLR. And I gather in the past that was kind of a thing, but I think we're way past that now, and you guys have definitely made this, more prevalent than others. So
we use
let's touch on
we
that,
actually use sorry, Doc, we actually use 2 capsules in our microphone. So we can achieve different polar patterns, and I can talk about that later. But the other thing is, having the onboard digital signal processing allows you to get really to the next level of what your sound should be. You're not just talking into a mic that's going into the computer.
Okay,
we've
so
got all of our secret sauce under the hood there for you.
In the polar patterns, we're speaking like I'm talking right now. So I think I have it set for the standard. I always say carotid because I'm an ex-medic. Pattern.
Cardioid. Yeah.
Cardioid pattern is just like, comes around like looks like a peach upside down, right? So the foot trim for me is here. And Eric and I talked about this earlier. I'm going to check his measurements. He said I'm about 18 inches from the mic. I am exactly 17 3/4. So, yeah. So for you guys who are about mic out of the shot, this is actually a pretty good device for you because not only I'm literally like 18 inches away. You guys can't see it unless I show you the overhead shot, and it sounds fantastic. Now, the cool part is like Eric was talking about the digital signal processing. So can we go through that? Oh, but let me finish that other thought because I'm having a Doc ADD moment. So you're saying that by changing the pattern, I could put another person on the opposite side of me.
Exactly.
Sit this guy in a vertical situation and speak to both?
That's correct. So let's say, when you're in the cardioid pattern, the microphone only picks up on the front side. If you put it in what we call figure 8 or bidirectional, you could have, I could sit across the table from you, Doc, and we put the mic between us and would pick up on the front side and the back side. And then we have, that's correct. And then we have a third pattern, which is omnidirectional. So if you had a conference room full of people around a table, you could put it in omnidirectional, put it in the middle of the table, and it's going to pick up 360 degrees around the capsule.
That, my friends, is incredible. That's dope. Okay, let's talk about how are we making this sound so good. Now, gang, I didn't do anything to my settings other than change the high pass filter because I'm Mr. Bass Voice. So other than that, I'm basically at the stock settings, right? I just changed one thing because I have a lot of boom. And Eric was like, dude, you sound like a chicken. Press this button.
I did not.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. So let's get into some of the like what someone would see when they set it up. Now, gang, if you take it out of the box and plug it in, the basic setting that I'm using right now is technically already there. By
That's right.
adding the application, I just adjusted my high pass filter, but you might have to make some changes because my room is relatively quiet because hashtag no kids. So let's take a look. You want to share your
So
screen, or you want to do this?
sure
Show
can.
the mic first.
I was going to show the quick,
Okay,
just
let's
when
do
you
that.
first plug it in.
You're the boss.
When you first plug it in, you don't need any software or anything like that. The first thing you're going to see is your preset button at the top. You have a monitor button below that, and then you have a volume control. On the bottom side of the mic is your USB-C connection and your headphone jack. I should also note that you can take this off of the stand if you want to put it on your own boom arm or something like that. It comes with a microphone adapter, which is great, so you can get it up in the air if you want to do that real radio thing. So the first thing you want to do is adjust your microphone gain. And when I say gain, I'm not talking about volume. What I'm talking about is the sensitivity of the microphone. So we can do that by pressing and holding our monitor button till it turns green, and then we have a green light underneath. Turning this up or down will adjust your microphone sensitivity or the gain level. And then we press this again to exit. And now the volume control here is just controlling my headphones. So I've got my gain set, I've got a good headphone level, I'm ready to go. Another cool feature that we give you on the mic is what we call direct monitoring. So you don't have to open another piece of software to hear yourself. And simply you press the monitor button, and if you rotate the encoder to the left, all you're going to hear is the microphone input. If you rotate it to the other direction, it's going to give you a blend of the microphone's input as well as whatever you're playing back on your stream.
That's cool.
So with those simple functions right there, you can be set up. No heavy tweaking involved. No need to learn audio engineering right out of the box. You're ready to go. And then let me talk about one more thing, which we have this preset button on top. So that digital signal processing I talked about, we went and tweaked that so that everyone, out of the box could have a really good sounding microphone without having to go adjust anything. So pressing this preset button will toggle through a few things that we give you, which you can have 4 presets on the mic, and you can change those anytime you like. So our first one is a male broadcast voice. The second one is a female broadcast voice, so the EQ is tailored to the lady sound.
Do I sound more like a female now, Eric?
Yeah, and then I have some special effects, Doc. Yes. So this is our alien sound, and then we have an echo sound.
You have echo.
Yeah, so it's great for the gamers. They like to do that, and you can change any of those presets in the software anytime that you like. But I just wanted to show you how easy it is. You just plug it in. There's no need to install anything if you don't want to. It just works Mac and PC.
And my favorite preset of all
Settings Super Chat.
Is Space Radio. All right.
No broadcast switch out. This doesn't stop with this voice.
I'm teasing. There we go. I was having fun. Isn't that super cool? Like, I just love that. That is so cool. Oh my God. Let's show Eric's screen so you guys can see why I'm cracking up over here, because that is freaking so cool. Let me do this real quick. We're gonna press that. And I'm gonna go to this one. And then I'm gonna change it to Eric. Ta-da! There you go.
Okay, so we took a look at the hardware. Now what I'm showing you on the screen, this is what we call universal control. It's our overarching software that works with all of our hardware, but in this case, it's working with the Revelator. And what you can see, if we first look when we start on the bottom left corner here, this is your microphone control. So we talked about gain already. You can also adjust it in the software. You can pan yourself left or right if you like. And then you have your overall volume level for your microphone.
See, I like
bottom. Simple stuff right out of the box. And then on the bottom here, you have a quick mute and a solo button. So if you only want to hear yourself and not anybody else at the moment, you can do that.
Is that where you bust out your epic guitar riffs?
That's right. Go to solo mode.
Well, okay, now the people are going to wonder, and I was shocked by this because I didn't expect to see this out of the gate. Why is that blue line climbing down every so often?
Okay, so that is because if we look up here, I have this blue button on that says gate. That's what we call a noise gate. So when I'm talking, the gate opens and you see the blue line disappear. And when I stop talking, it closes. And what that's doing is cutting out my background noise or my room noise so that when I'm not speaking, you don't hear a lot of stuff going on, keyboard clicking or people walking around. And we have, I have it on low right now, but you could increase it if you needed a stronger gate there, or you can even go higher than that. But I'm in a pretty quiet room, so I just keep it on low.
See, dude, that in itself is cool. I'm gonna try something real quick. Okay, I type loud, so mine will come through because I have the fancy gamer clicky keyboard.
Oh, you have the okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's I think one thing that's also dope, can we explain a little bit about the compressor side? Because I think that's something that a lot of
Sure.
people wonder, why do I always have this voice? I have a built-in compressor, but I learned it. So like, yeah, can you explain that?
Yeah. So what compression does is it works on the dynamics of your voice. So you speak loud, you speak soft, and in your natural speech pattern, you're going to have peaks and valleys as you're talking. And what a compressor does, it's going to come in and keep those peaks down so that the valleys can still be heard at a decent level when you turn them up. So we have a compressor built into the Revelator, and we've got some macro controls for it: low, medium, and high. If you want more compression, less compression, basically this is if your dynamic range in your voice is not that big, you go with a low setting. If it's bigger, you can go with a higher setting. And we can also go in, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but we can adjust the compressor even further if we like. So right now we can see.
Cool.
So if I increase my input to the compressor, we see the gain reduction on the needle when I talk louder, and when I speak softer, we have less compression.
That's cool. Like I like the fact that you give. See, I think one thing that's weird, like people will see that, and at first maybe they'll be a little bit intimidated by seeing those controls. But I like that because if you've come from seeing this before, maybe you just had it in a home stereo, right? You had like an EQ or something growing up. So being able to see what it's doing with a visual rather than just moving a slider, I think is extremely helpful. And so I would say people don't get intimidated by compressors. They're actually simple once you know some basic rules. But I think it's dope that having a visual also makes it easier for you to get back to your settings if you ever leave. Now, I just stumbled upon something which we didn't explain yet, but yes, it's cool. So
Yeah.
if you make these settings, right? And then I say,
Yes.
okay, you know what, iMac, I gotta go. I'm on a trip, so I'm gonna take the Revelator, throw it in my bag. When I plug this into my MacBook in the hotel in Bali, do I need to install Universal or can I just plug it in?
No, you can just plug it in and go. If you made yourself a preset, is what you're asking, Doc.
Yeah, like those
You
settings
got
will
yourself.
stick, right?
They will stick. Well, they are sticky inside of the microphone, so you don't need to worry about which computer you're using.
So that's
They're
cool.
saved on the microphone itself.
Gang, I don't know if
And you can
if you guys are catching this, right? But if you save these settings in the Revelator software, right? Universal Control, and Apple stole your name, by the way. I just want to remind you, they just came up with Universal Control. I was like, yeah, I think they're a little late. Anyway, so if you save these settings, or you get your EQ squared away, you get your compressor, your noise gate, everything squared away, how you like it, make yourself sound lovely. When you disconnect the mic and plug it into a different computer, those settings will stay. So in the side
right.
where we're showing Eric's presets, gang, like you'll see where it says right now broadcast female, say he changed the bottom one instead of slap echo to this is going to be my road trip one. Like you can pick a different setting, adjust all the myriad things that will actually carry over once you disconnect and reconnect the mic.
Right.
I'm just
So
like,
now I've got my AM radio voice on. So yeah,
I like
you
the
can,
AM
and then
radio
you can,
voice.
and then you can save anything you like custom as well. If you tap this button here, you get a save icon, and we can pick a slot to put it into because we give you 8 user slots to save your own presets as well as the ones from the factory. So we
See, that's
store
cool.
that there, and then it is retained right here. So now this slot would be my user preset, whatever I adjust it to.
See, that's cool. Elaine, this microphone, although people think it's for podcasters and things like that, I think some of these settings, like you're saying, Elaine, will actually help the musician that's on the road. Because if you're, just wanting to do a quick live stream from the hotel, or you want to just do a test recording and things like that, you'll be able to do some more dialing in you traditionally can't do with a travel capable microphone. You kind of need like a little mixer and everything.
Right. Right. So you have all those effects on board. I mean, we have videos on PreSonus's site. We have singer-songwriters that use it, acoustic guitar and vocal. It's got some nice built-in little reverb effect. So if you want to put a little reverb on your voice for singing or guitar, that's all there.
Dude, that is cool. That is super cool. Okay, so the one thing that everyone in the community wants to know about. I don't know if you guys are looking at Eric's screen really well, but do you see when I'm speaking, it's coming through Loopback 1, gang? We're talking a microphone with 2 built-in Loopback channels. Eric, can you bless the people? Because this is a #1 stunner in our community is Loopback.
Yeah, sure. So what Loopback does, it allows 2 software applications to, talk to each other. You can route the audio from one application, say your Zoom meeting, into another app. Maybe you're on Skype and you need to take an interview inside of Zoom. You can route your Skype audio into Zoom, and you can do that. Previously, you couldn't do that unless you had a third-party piece of software, right? It didn't come with any microphones. It didn't come with Skype. It didn't come with anything like that. You had to buy it. So what we did is we built it into the Revelator. We built 2 of them in. And right now I'm talking to Doc on my Ecamm is coming back on Loopback 1. But then if I wanted to, say I needed to play some music for a music bed in this interview, I have my Studio 1 is routed to the Revelator's output that is playback. So I can now bring this in to Doc's mix. So this is where Doc is, so I can adjust what you guys are hearing. As well as have Doc.
That is so cool.
So
That
what you
is
see
so
in
cool.
what you see in the mixer where it says Loopback 1 and Loopback 2, those are outputs from different applications. So you can rename those to whatever you'd like. Just so if you needed to keep up, you could call this one Skype. And then on this side of things, this is your main output. And then below that, you have your 2 loopback outputs. So those are going to be the inputs to your application. So you could say that this mix, we'll rename it, and this mix is going to Skype. So now I've got the input from Skype, who I'm receiving, and then I'm sending back to Skype on the other output. So we have 3 outputs on the Revelator, including your headphones. So you can route these outputs to different applications and route the output of those applications to different inputs inside the Revelator, and that is how you get your loopbacks.
Oh, wait. Hold up. Park the bus. Pull over. So I can take my mix out of Ecamm through the Revelator and feed that to Zoom by selecting the proper mix as my audio input into Zoom.
That's correct.
Shut the front door. Okay,
Yeah,
gang.
it's
Sorry, your host is not supposed to have a mind explosion moment. But wait, I'm over here trying. I'm trying to press buttons on the Rodecaster Pro, and I completely forgot that I'm using this right now. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But man, that's cool because that's something that comes up a lot. Is like I want to do this and that through Ecamm because that's the setup that I'm used to. But the speaking gig has me speaking, dialing in through Zoom. This way you can keep your virtual camera from Ecamm coming into Zoom and do advanced sound from Ecamm to Zoom by sending that audio through one of the custom mixes to Zoom or any other app for that matter. That is delicious. That is super cool. I'm trying to think of what else would be dope. Oh, yeah, I get it. So a lot of speakers, especially guys that want to do that warm-up thing, this is where they're going to play audio like background music or something while they're building in and not having to like pre-mix their tracks. They can just have it coming from a system, right? Even a
That's right.
sound system from, you know, someone's feeding an audio to them, or they're
Hmm.
like doing a watch party. You could play the movie or something, and that would all come through here as well.
That's right, and it's big for gamers too, because they like to have their maybe their game audio on one channel, but then their chat on the other channel, or their Twitch coming into a different channel.
Oh, see, that's cool. All right, gang. So up in the top, right above, one of the things that I liked when I came in here is you have this phone mix, which basically adjusts how loud I'm hearing myself here. Because I think what a lot of people get confused, and we mentioned this before, people get like, this sounds really good in here, but you just might have your phone volume up, right? But what we're watching is we're watching this first channel and the last channel. We're looking at the master mix. And so when you see the green on the left, that's when Eric's speaking, that one will move. The green that's bouncing on the right, that is the mixture of myself speaking and Eric speaking. And
Right.
what you guys will notice is as I'm coming through on his Loopback 2 channel, I'm actually pulling probably like -4, -5 dB, but his mix is still coming out at -12, which is kind of where you want to be for digital processing and for the internet.
Right.
So
Right.
that's kind of cool as well. Listen, guys, if you have any questions, by all means, don't forget to drop these in. And so far, everyone's seeming to love the way this works. Elaine said she didn't know that. That's so cool. That's good. And Sammy said that's amazing. Thank you, Mr. Sammy. Mr. Riley, I appreciate your statement here. Learning some cool things so far. Thanks, Eric. Oh,
No,
you know what
you're
it
very
is?
welcome.
He's bearded like us, so you know.
Oh, okay.
Us beard guys got to kick it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And say what Mr. Camera Junkie. Elaine has no beard. I don't think she would look right. But that's my homie right there. So, anything else cool from inside the Revelator software that we didn't touch on that you think we should know?
There's a few things. I want to start when we talked about saving presets.
Yes, sir.
We recently added this in an update, so now we allow you can save 8 presets on the microphone. But let's say you've got more than that, and you've run out of space on your mic. We now let you save those presets locally. So you can see on my screen where it says local presets. This is what I have on my computer. So I can grab my user preset here and just tell it, pop that guy over there. Now it's saved on my computer. And if I want to replace that one with one I have over here, simply here, and it's asking me if I want to replace it. Yes, and now I've changed my user presets on the mic. So that way you can have unlimited presets. You're not limited to 8. It's just only 8 can live in the microphone at one time.
Oh, good question, Sammy. Sammy wanted to know, and whoa, I just got crazy with the Zoom there. Sorry, Samuel. He said he wanted to know if the fader port could be used to control the audio in Ecamm. I don't think we have an HUD connection yet, but I can ask. I think that would be more us than them because they just basically follow the commands. So, Sammy, I will talk to Ken and Glenn and have him talk to Eric's people and see if there's a way that we can get that HUD connector put in because that would be super beneficial.
Yeah. It's simply a software protocol.
Yeah.
It's a simple software protocol. Yeah.
That would be cool, Sammy, because the other thing that would mean too, Sam, we might be able to use some of these buttons. Here, let me grab mine real quick so I can show folks. We might be able to use some of these buttons to control the stream. So instead of using all of these to control things on here, maybe I can, load various sounds or whatever. But the main one we normally use is this fader, and then we would use the knob here to select whether we're talking which input. But yeah, that's a good question, Sammy. I really appreciate that. Please send a feedback to marketing@ecamm.com, and then Sam, we can pass that on to the boys. Super good question, young Jedi. That's Sammy's nickname. Because I'm the Star Wars nerd around here. All right, let's check one other thing, Eric, that I want to talk to you about, because see, gang, one of the cool things is having Eric here is because he's an audio engineer first. He's not like me, a DJ that happens to know a little bit about audio. Like, he actually mix engineers, so he knows what he's talking about. Can you help us, Eric, understand better what the EQ and limiter parts do? Because I think that's really crucial for a lot of people.
Sure.
for their streams and things?
Sure. So we have multiple EQ settings that are just presets. So we have a vocal, vintage, and what this does, it controls or corrects the tonality of your voice. So if we go into edit, or what we call our fat channel, which is where your EQ, compressor, limiter, noise gate live, and I select my equalizer, you can see I have several points on here where in the bottom end, I have rolled off a lot of that rumbly stuff that you get in the room. That's not actually in your voice. It just adds noise to your broadcast. I've also boosted just a little bit around 200 and 160 hertz just to give my voice a little bit more depth. I've made a small cut or a reduction in tone here about 1K to some of that nasally stuff. And then I've added a little high frequency. So, which you can simply toggle through your different bands. You have a low mid, and high. And you could just click and drag, add some more bass. You can cut some more bass. We can add some more mid-range, cut some mid-range, and same with the highs. And then we also offer not only one EQ in the Revelator, but we have 3 different styles of EQ. So this is our standard, what we call parametric EQ. Here we have a vintage EQ, which is more of a passive tube-driven style from, back in the day. And it gives you some boost and attenuation on different frequencies, high, mids, and lows. And then we also have, I'm sorry, that was a passive EQ. Then we also have our vintage EQ here, which is just a little bit different circuitry. And in our different equalizers that we actually have people in Germany that measure the actual hardware of these things, and they model it and put it in so it sounds as close to the original hardware as possible. And it's the same thing when we go to our compressor. We have 3 different models to choose from. I'll go with our standard compressor, and we'll turn it on. And the first thing I'm going to do is set my threshold. So the lower I set my threshold, the faster the compressor is going to engage. Now you can see the little blue meter here in the corner is starting to flicker just a little bit. It means I'm starting to get a little reduction when I'm getting loud. I can go all the way down like this and really start to clamp down on my voice. So everything sounds nice and even, but it's a little overdone. So finding the sweet spot right in the middle is where you want to be, just to catch those peaks and keep yourself from overloading, and you sound nice and even across the board. Now you also have controls for the attack time. That's how fast the compressor engages, and release is how long it stays engaged.
That's
and
cool.
For a compressor, we have 3 different models. This is a tube-driven model. Sorry, turn that up for you. And then we also have the one I like quite a bit, which is our FET compressor.
Yes, the FET compressor.
So the 1176 style, if you will. Then we also include with in our fat channel, we add a limiter at the very end of the signal chain. And what this does is it's going to allow you to keep your broadcast nice and hot without clipping when you're going out to YouTube or to Facebook. It really is just going to keep those peaks in check, so you're not overloading and distorting at the other end.
You think -3 is a good spot to keep that?
It's going to range.
Okay.
If your broadcast is peaking around, maybe -2, -3, that's going to be a healthy spot for you. If you're a little hotter than that, you can go all the way up to 0, which would clip off, or it would limit it right before clip.
See, that is
or
really
distortion.
Cool. See, that comes in really handy because, again, one of the things for me that I think kind of always threw off the average person, right, is they just plug in a USB mic and they start talking, and then they're clipping crazily, because one of the things that happens when you say put the mic further away is you don't hear yourself as loud, so you start messing with it and cranking it up, and then next thing you know, you're like super over modulating, sending way too much heat one direction and things
Right.
like that. So this is really cool. Man, this is quite amazing. And guys, again, the amount of control that's in this thing is super incredible. So for instance, if you're looking at the channel here, underneath where you see the different colored cheek lace, that's my fancy word for chips. Um, there's this little blue half circle. That is that gain. If you remember gang watching in our class, we talked about there's a difference between gain and level. That little blue circle specifies what the revelator is bringing into the system, right? And then the microphone level that's on the slider is adjusting our level, and that's saying what we're letting the system get passed through that will eventually make it to our software. So this allows for proper gain staging, folks. This allows for you to get everything nice and even before you attempt to let it out. And that's the whole point of gain staging is get your inputs all together, your nice sound, your music mix, your other piece of software, adjusting your EQ, your compressor, your limiter, all of that stuff. And then you can send that level evenly to any program. Like today, we're using Ecamm Live.
Yeah. Well put.
Super incredible. Like, man. And
So, Doc, I want to show you one more thing if I can on our
yeah,
Fat channel.
please.
So we've also included some voice effects just to play around, some special effects. And so we have a filter bank and we have a vocoder. You can, just different fun effects you can play with. Here's some to detune your voice. But the cool thing about these effects that are not only in the Revelator, now if you're a Revelator customer and you have Studio One, they're going to be available to you inside of Studio One, which is our recording DAW as well.
Oh, this is crazy.
So just a little bonus I wanted to put out there.
I was just making sure I didn't accidentally turn on any robot voices while I was saying this is crazy.
Okay.
Because, gang, that's how I was able to pull off the Darth Vader voice and be like,
Sarah,
thank you for your question. Remember, never underestimate the power of the dark side. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, cool. So that kind of covers Revelator. Like for what it is, it's quite an amazing microphone, super inexpensive. It's approachable. I think that's the key element there is it's approachable. Yeah. So what other cool things from the company do you guys have in line or anything you want to tell us about or something that people should check out?
Well, I would definitely say go check out our recording software. If that's what you're into, you can download a demo of that for free on our website.
Studio One.
Studio One, that's right. We are working on, we're getting more into the streaming and broadcasting world. So I would definitely check out our studio monitors. If you need something to monitor your stream with, we have everything from 3.5 inch all the way up to 8-inch monitors that are some of the best sellers for us. We also have a line of non-USB microphones. If you already have a USB interface that you're using for your stream, go on our website. You can check those out. We highly recommend those as well. As long as headphones, we've got everything you need to get set up and running.
Cool. Now I'll get to ask you my personal questions. Y'all just gotta listen to this now. So because I just got the new iMac, right? And so I have the Mini over here. The Mini will probably, because it's my main master guy, it'll probably run one setup, and then I'm gonna keep the Revelator moving so that I can bring it to my notebook. Will it work on my iPad?
Yes.
Really? I can just plug it straight into my iPad?
You can plug it straight into your iPad. The thing to keep in mind is you have to provide it enough power. So if you have a USB-C iPad, you're going to be good to go.
I have a Thunderbolt iPad, sir.
Oh, well, you're a step above, Doc.
You know how we do. Well, actually, you can get really cool...
But Android, iPad, or Android. Yeah.
Oh, Android too? All right, cool.
Yep.
So that's cool because if you're setting those presets and you're saving them to the mic, that makes it easier when you rock it into an iPad because it's already good to go. You don't have
to, you don't have to do anything. Your iPad will see it as your audio source. Your presets are going to be living in there, and you're done.
Okay, so for my XLR crowd, that's my Mr. Camera Junkie and the rest. I am in the market for a new interface. When I first got into this and I was diving back in, I was using Allen & Heath Z12X. I say Z because that's what the rest of the world says, but it's a Z. Anyway, but it's way too big. It took up half my desk, and I was like, yo, I can't use this. It needs to go back into my DJ box. I needed something. So I was looking for an interface. And the one I believe that I was looking for was the 68C, and it was gone. It was gone everywhere in the planet. That's how I knew it was a good decision because you couldn't buy one because everybody already had one.
Right.
And no, I was like, I know anybody's sitting on the used one doing nothing. Let me get it. Nope, I'm keeping it. And so I was like, jerks. So, what can you talk to us about your interfaces? Because I think the one thing that had me about that particular model was you guys were bundling it with some software and things to make it, just really good. And then you had already done the switch over. I think you guys were first to market in switching over to the USB connector, even though it's still USB 2. It's just that if you're a MacBook Pro guy, that's the cord you got, right? So you guys were
Right.
like one of the
USB-C.
first to switch,
Yeah.
right? So let's talk
Yep.
about your interfaces real quick for those XLR guys. Like what would you say are your favorites, and
Yeah.
what do you
Well,
guys
we have
bring
our
different?
well, I would think you were talking about the fader port earlier, Doc. We have a newer product. It's been out a while, but it's probably one of the newer interfaces we have. It's called the I/O station, and that is a fader port with a 2x2 audio interface built in.
That's gorgeous. I think
So you can plug.
I have a screen of that. Let me pull that up real quick because that thing is beautiful. Let me switch to this real fast and do one of these real quick, and then change it to there we go, and then publish. Bye out. There we go. This thing is gorgeous, guys. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
love
you can
this.
plug in two microphones. It's got monitor outputs, speaker outputs, and all the same controls that you have on the fader port.
Oh, that's gorgeous. So slightly bigger from the look
Slightly
of it.
bigger. Mhm.
Yeah, I believe when I was looking, this wasn't available yet. It was still on coming soon, and
Ah,
that is quite incredible. Oh yeah,
and
I
that
like
comes
that.
bundled with a full bundle or a full complement of software comes with that as well.
Okay, so this one also allow for that loopback feature as well?
That one does not. That's exclusive to our Revelator product.
Okay, and then what about any of the other hard interfaces? Will any of them do loopback feature as well?
Our Studio Series interfaces
Yes.
are loopback enabled on Windows machines.
Oh, I see. We get no love. I'm teasing.
Well, yeah,
I know.
we finally cracked the nut on the Mac side, but we had to do it with the Revelator.
That's cool. That's cool. So the cool thing is there's what you call the forward path is going. Once you get that first part covered, then it's easier to move forward. You know what I mean? So
Right.
let's see. We got a question from the audience. Truckee Kruger, super awesome name, by the way, sir. He's like, can we discuss loopback feature? We actually talked about it briefly, but yeah, Truckee, question: which are you talking about for the Revelator or for something else? But Revelators, it's easy. Eric just blew a whole bunch of heads here just a couple of minutes ago, showing us how it works. But yes, it's actually super easy. It's gorgeous.
And we have some really useful videos on our website that talk about it too. It'll walk you through it in less than 2 or 3 minutes. You'll completely get it.
All right, cool. I asked you analog versus DAW. Um, I mean, nowadays the bridge between analog and digital is getting very blurred. It used to be there was a warmth and some other things that you would get with analog you couldn't get with digital, but now, man, they've gotten so. The minute that Avalon became a plug-in, I was 100% sold. Because
Right.
before
Right.
you had to claw the Avalon out of my fingers, someone had to beat me with a bat, be like, "Don't use the Avalon in this session." And I'm like, "But I like it." now, now you can do that. So here's a good question, I guess, and this will kind of cover Trucky's question as well. If I take Studio One and I build a track with my own vocal processing, sweeten the mic how I like it,
Sure.
I could pass that possibly back through the Revelator as a loopback channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Studio One will see all the ports on or all the channels on the Revelator. So you just select which one you want to send it to, and it's going to come up on that channel inside the UC mixer.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Okay, so David, for someone like you, David Hunt is an amazing keyboardist, and when we're doing our Zoom meetings and stuff, um, David will music us out. Like he'll have his
Oh,
little
cool.
setup, and he'll or as we're talking, he'll play like the preacher chords when I go on my rants.
Ah,
He'll,
okay.
he'll play preacher chords under me talking, which is freaking hilarious. By the way, let me turn off this particular mode. So I'm thinking that will even help out someone like him because he could set up his keyboards and any extra instruments. Like his whole family is musical, so wife, kids, whole 9 yards. You could build all of that in Studio One, then
Mm-hmm.
pass that through to the Revelator and pop that
Mm-hmm.
into your live streams.
Absolutely.
Guys, I don't know if you're understanding this. All you musical people out there, this guy is probably your friend because you can do all the things that you always complain about that you always want. You can actually do that and have a much easier time of passing your DAW. The cool thing about I think the way the Revelator is set up, you're not running a heavyweight other piece of software in order to build these loopback channels and things like that. And because it's much more visual, like I think there's an easier understanding getting people set up and running it into Zoom. And like Eric said, by all means, go to PreSonus and clink in, check it out. All right, let's just check the audience last time. If you guys have any last pressing questions, please let us know. And yes, David, because you showed up late for class, you are going to want to rewind and watch the whole replay because Eric hit us with some stuff that broke a couple faces today. so that's really cool. Man, yeah, I'm in. I love this. The last thing that I guess we covered Loopback. That's cool. We got our mixing set up. Everything. What about recording? How does it all pass through for recording?
Just like it would any other audio interface. If you go into your DAW, we hope you're using Studio One, but any DAW will work. Any recording software, it'll just see the Revelator as a recording device.
That's cool.
So it can record directly to your DAW. You don't need to open Universal Control at all.
And so that's another thing. So once you have this all set up in front, I mean, once you have it all set up the way you want to go, you technically don't have to open up the universal control anymore because it's actually being saved to the mic. I think that part we
Right.
got to keep repeating it because repetition is key. Yeah, that's a game changer, folks.
Yeah,
That's a game changer.
and you have the option. You have the option on the Revelator as well to save multiple setups. So if you have one setup for, your Ecamm broadcast, and then you have another setup for when you're gaming, you can save that whole scene on your computer. So next time you plug the Revelator in, you just choose which setup you've got, and it resets everything in that universal control back to that.
I just did something crazy and changed my thing to Space Overlord. I'm gonna put it back to normal. Stop. I don't know why I decided to press that button, but I did, and it became Space Overlord. Guys, these presets are freaking hilarious. I don't know what I just did to my voice, but we're gonna hope that it's back to normal.
Well, you still sound good.
Okay, good. Well, even as Space Overlord, it still sounds good. So, gang, this is absolutely incredible. Like 100%. I'm gonna just test one thing out before I mess this up. If I press this button, so the mute is a digital cut. So in theory,
Yes, that's right.
You guys shouldn't have heard anything when I press mute. And then when I come out, you shouldn't hear anything. Then that's another thing that's incredible. Oh, okay, man, it's such overload. Like I'm like my brain is buzzing. I want to go try and do more things. Eric, man, I cannot thank you enough for coming through
Oh,
and
my pleasure.
showing us this stuff. And if you guys come up with anything else cool for us live streaming types, keep me posted. Cause man,
yes.
this is great. Just the EQ stuff and compressor stuff alone, I think will go a long way with our people because a lot of people have that question. And I guess the other thing that's quite amazing, which I'm so, like you said, you guys are making solutions instead of products. The product is just the means to the solution, but so many
Right.
people have to do this in an environment that's not properly treated. You and I will like pad all kinds of stuff, put blankets, like, build just incredible studios. But when you're at home, you got to like do your thing and kids over there yelling at the TV. like Revelator's gonna just do you proud.
It's got the control for you, right?
Man, it's incredible. Gang, everybody please give Eric a round of applause. And we are so appreciative for you coming through and help us. How can
Not a problem.
people learn more? What's the best resource for them to go and figure this out?
Our website is probably the best resource. So just check us out at PreSonus.com. We have learn articles, knowledge-based articles, videos. Choose the product you want to learn about, and it's all right there on the webpage.
All right, let me pop that on the screen real quick for the family here. I was having mouse problems trying to capture that URL. my fingers aren't working today. There we go. But not twice, Doc. You only need it one time. There we go. Here we go. Let's drop that right there so you guys can know. And Eric, thank you again so much for coming through. Gang,
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Elaine. I knew you would get a kick out of this. And big ups to you for coming to listen to us while you're in the airport. Like, in the airport, there's nothing I want to do more than sit at the bar and wait for my plane. so I absolutely appreciate that. And gang, please remember, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, reach out to us. And we have more masterclass sessions coming through. Thank you guys for coming through and just like, being here, being present, taking your time to listen to this masterclass. I hope you have got what you need. And by all means, remember to wash
your hands.
Eric, you're gonna get me kicked out of the community because I will be playing.
It's not my fault.
I will be playing with these buttons like way too much. David, thank you for it. We really appreciate you, gang. Guys, we have more masterclass coming up soon. And if you need anything that you want to see specifically, please send us an email, marketing@ecamm.com, and we'll get you squared away. Eric, make sure you email me like where we can send you some cool merch because we want to get you a cool hat and a You're on Mute t-shirt, and then walk around the office when you're in Zoom meetings with John. You can just be like, the guys, I want to music us out of here. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Aloha.
Honey, I got what you want.